In July of 2020, more than 250 companies paused their advertisements from all of Facebook platforms, boycotting the company for its censorship practices, or lack thereof. Censorship on social platforms is an extremely complex and multifaceted issue, with no obvious correct answer, just the kind of topic we like to explore. If you're new here, please consider subscribing for more Lightbulb moments. Facebook is a ginormous company with billions of daily active users across its platforms, making more than $70 billion in revenue from targeted ads. Twitter, though not quite as big, is also a social giant, hosting over 500 million tweets every single day. These massive user bases generate billions in revenue, but they also come with a lot of complicated problems. One of these problems is censorship of hate speech. These social networks are supposed to be a platform for free speech, collecting billions of people around the world together to share their opinions. While this is precisely the beauty of the internet and these platforms, it is also what has caused them to come under fire recently. Social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter have typically allowed people to post about pretty much anything without much intervention. Posts that are clearly malicious or threatening an individual are removed, but other than that, there isn't very strict regulation of people's posts. Any regulation has always been at Facebook's own discretion. However, as these platforms have become extremely powerful forums over the last decade, actually influencing the path of major events in the world, the fairness and effectiveness of this practice is being called into question. More recently, Twitter and Snap started fact-checking posts by the president and adding labels for misinformation, but Facebook refused to do this, substantiating its infamous reputation as a hotbed of fake news. Facebook is no stranger to bad press. In the past few months, they have been criticized for political advertisements, the spread of misinformation, and minimal censorship of hate speech, among other things. We're going to keep the scope of this video to talking about the censorship issue. If you're interested in seeing videos about the other issues, let us know in the comments. As a result of Facebook's refusal to be more stringent with moderation of posts that are hateful, racist, or spreading misinformation, huge companies like Starbucks, Coca-Cola, Adidas, Ford, and many others have decided to boycott Facebook and pause all ad spending on the platform. This has also led to activist movements and hashtags like Stop Hate for Profit. Of course, these companies may also have their own ulterior motives. A lot of people believe that these companies are actually halting or reducing advertising spend because of financial reasons as a result of the coronavirus, and blaming it on Facebook's poor censorship of hate speech is just a way to earn PR points with socially conscious customers. But regardless of their motives, the moderation of posts is not a trivial issue. In the United States, hate speech is legally protected free speech under the First Amendment. Facebook has often responded to criticism about its practices by stating that they do not want to stifle people's free speech. Even so, they do remove posts that are particularly malicious, but this is all done at their own discretion. Selective enforcement of which posts are removed versus which are allowed to live on is a very incendiary issue. Wouldn't you be annoyed if your opinions were moderated while equally inflammatory posts by your friends and co-workers were not? Selective moderation of free speech does not fit very well with democratic ideals, but then again, neither does hate speech. Keeping these platforms free of malicious content is very important, but identifying such posts is also an incredibly difficult task. With hundreds of millions of posts every day, this filtering of posts has to be done by artificial intelligence algorithms that have to traverse through posts, photos, and videos written in hundreds of different languages and dialects to identify which ones can be classified as offensive or hateful. For example, a post expressing frustration about a bad retail experience is not necessarily trivial to distinguish from actual hate speech. Similarly, political posts often tend to be very inflammatory, especially in a bipartisan country, but they are not necessarily hate speech. Inflammatory posts like these are also the ones that tend to get a lot of likes, comments, and shares. Speaking of likes, don't forget to click the button below. Also, what is considered hate speech in one culture might not be in another culture. But even this is just the tip of the iceberg. These classification algorithms have a ton of nuances to address. Facebook's artificial intelligence algorithm has only able to detect about 88% of the ones they removed before users reported them. And this doesn't count the posts they never removed. Even if their algorithm is 99.99% accurate at identifying hate speech, 1 out of 10,000 flagged posts will still end up slipping through or getting incorrectly removed. For a company with hundreds of millions of posts daily, that's a lot of misclassifications. There is a delicate balance for these social media companies. Too much moderation, and they'll be stifling free speech, and people will go elsewhere to share their thoughts. On the other hand, too little moderation, and the platform runs the risk of becoming a breeding ground for hate speech, and no one wants to log into a newsfeed filled with hostile posts. What would you do if you were in Facebook's shoes? Would you accept the boycott's demands and increase moderation on your platform, or leave it alone and provide a platform advocating free speech and self-moderation? Let us know in the comments below, and if you found this video interesting, please hit the like and subscribe button for more Lightbulb moments.